First game that we're going to look at is The Secret of Monkey Island, a game produced by LucasArts, George Lucas, who made Star Wars. Made in the early 1990s, and you might think it looks pixelated and looks poor, and there are some pixelations, and there are some weak points in terms of the fact that there's only background music, there's no narration, nobody speaking, and all of the conversations are text. However, if you look in the top game charts of 50 games of all time, even today it appears in there. So what made it so revolutionary at the time? Well, you've got to remember that back in the 1990s you only had a keyboard and a mouse to interact with the game. And so if it was going to be a full-blown story, then how do you interact with a game just using a keyboard and mouse? And the answer is the point-and-click adventure. It means that if I wanted to talk to the pirates, I'd click on Talk To and then click on the pirate, and I'd be able to interact. I could open the door, close the door, push, pull, objects, walk to, pick up, talk to, give something to somebody, use something, look at, turn on and turn off. So these command terms allow me to interact with everything in the game. There are only 12 command terms, but by combining these and clicking on objects on the game, I can carry on and complete the whole game and go right through from start to finish and interact with everything that I need to. So this point-and-click adventure revolutionized the adventure game and storytelling. The story is interesting as well. Guybrush Threepwood wants to become a pirate. If he talks to these 3 pirates in the scum bar, then they will reveal that he needs to do 3 challenges, and then the story unfolds. There's various different objects that you can pick up along the way and put them into your inventory, combine them and use them along the way. If I go, say for example, over here now, and I walk to the door, I can now try and open the door. I get told that I can't go back there, and so I now know I've probably got to wait until that person goes, and maybe now I can try again, except that the chef's come back. So if I now wait until he comes out again and sneak into the kitchen, I might find something there, something that I can pick up and use throughout the game. Conversations are quite adult, really, so there's some funny, quirky parts to the conversation as the story unfolds, and you get various different options that you can choose from in terms of conversation. So you can direct the conversation based on what turns up and what kind of questions you can ask and what kind of responses you get. I'll wait for the chef to go, and then I'll quickly open the door and go into the area, and you can see now how I can pick up and use different things. I can walk to the door, open, door, and now if I try and pick up the fish, say for example, it tells me that it's going to bite my hand off. So I can click that. Now I can quickly try to do the same thing again. I've got to be quick. Pick up the fish. I'm not going to do it. Try again. Give it another go. Pick up the fish. And this time I've done it. and maybe then from my inventory I can use the fish with the pot of stew, pick up the fish from the stew, and now I've changed the fish. And so I can combine different objects, and as I said before, I can have conversations with the pirates and with different people, interact, text space, and then I can find out about the different trials that they want me to go on. Let's have a look at what we've got to write. So here, once you've played the game, or played a good part of the game, you've got to be able to tell me about storytelling and narrative structures. So you've got to be able to tell me that the story is an important part of a computer game. It keeps players interested, keeps them wanting to know more, wanting to find out what's going to happen next, and storytelling therefore makes the game addictive. You can tell me then about Monkey Island, about Guybrush Threepwood as the main character, wanting to become a pirate on the island called Melee Island. He seeks out the pirate leaders, and he's given 3 major trials in order to become a pirate, and he then needs to go around the Caribbean and solve these various different trials, solve these quests. He also, you'll find, has got a love interest and wants to win the heart of Elaine Marley. Play the game and write the story. Narrative structures means, is it linear, non-linear, circular, or interactive? Well, it's definitely interactive because you can point and click and interact with the game. It's probably linear. You'd have to say it's mainly linear in its approach. Linear means straightforward because you have to solve one thing before you can do the next thing. So say for example I've just picked up a pot. You'll find that will allow me to be fired out of a cannon. It's going to be my helmet, my safety helmet, to be fired out of a cannon in a circus to get some money to solve the next part of the quest. So it's linear in that respect. However, there is a little bit of non-linear in there as well, because you can solve some different parts of the problems in different orders. So you might be able to solve one thing before another, or vice versa. However, it's mainly linear because you need certain things before you can do something else. So you'll find that out as you play the game. The dialogue and the characters, so the conversations that you have, are an important part of the game because it explains the story, keeps you interested, but also enables you to find out what to do next. And that's part of the linear part of the game. It might be that you have to have a conversation with somebody before you can then do the quest. It's very difficult to be killed. That's not the idea of this game. So it's not a combat game, it's an adventure game, and so you're not killed and go back to the beginning. It just means that you have to solve problems along the way. So the idea isn't that it's a combat game. In terms of point of view, that means what you see. Well, it's a 2-dimensional game. There's no floors above floors. You can't go up and down, really, down below the floor into another area, or look up, or climb upstairs. It's all flat. However, it does seem as if it's 3-dimensional, so I went into the scum bar and it looked as if I was going in, but really it's 2-dimensional with a little element of 3 dimensions in there as well. Sometimes people call it 2.5D, somewhere between 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional. So it looks like the character's going into the distance, but really the character's just getting smaller and giving the idea of perspective. It's played from a third-person perspective. That means you see it through the eyes of the main character, Guybrush Threepwood. We've mentioned its point-and-click interface, and you can say about those 12 different command terms, allowing you to interact with the game world and the surroundings. And really those 12 different command terms allow you to interact in a whole variety of ways by clicking on one of those and clicking on the various objects and getting the combination correct, so that then something can happen in an interactive way. So the idea is that it's an adventure game with lots of story, point and click, not really, it doesn't really have elements of combat in there, but it does have lots of animations, text and graphics to keep your interest.